Just tell me who you are and what you're doing here, please.
Okay, I'm Henry Dowd. I've come along to this exhibition of the Faversham Neighbourhood Plan. I'm not sure what to expect, except that on past form I'm expecting a set of illustrated, rather artist's impression, very prettified illustrations of developers' plans and a lot of options, A, B, C, D, E, all of which will involve development in places nobody in Faversham wants it. And I suspect this is as close as we're going to get to consultation for the town. That is to be casually invited to one place at one time to inspect plans which I suspect have a kind of finality already hanging on to them, and it will enable people to say that we've been consulted. It's like me saying I'm going to build a couple of houses in my back garden, and anybody who wants to see what I'm doing is welcome to come and have a look. And a couple of people turn up, and I'll be able to say that the whole of Faversham has been consulted about my proposal to build a couple of houses.
Go in, have a look, come out and talk to me again, would you?
I will.
Thank you.
Okay, I've had a good look around. I've done the I've had a look at the questionnaire. I felt I should really do that online because it just seemed to go in directions I didn't want to go. I can't help getting the feeling this is an exercise not in public consultation at all, but in railroading the few people who get to hear about it into agreeing with a scheme that is simply not in their own interests at all. The Faversham Creek Neighbourhood Plan was originally, as I understand it, set up to represent the interests of the maritime industry and heritage, and to integrate the creek basin into and regenerate it into something which it was already being used for, but only in a partial way. And it seems to have been diverted entirely towards the interests of housing development. What really struck me was that instead of the neighbourhood plan being about maritime, essentially, having maritime industry at its core, it's essentially based around housing and developers' interests. So you have a series of options, but it's all same meat, different gravy. It's just one housing development after another, and crucially, it's housing which compromises any possible future for the maritime industrial use of the creek. So that there is no option presented which actually represents what the real residents of the town want, which is to preserve, reinstate and integrate the maritime industrial use of the creek basin and the whole system. The questionnaire, again, it follows all this up. It concentrates entirely on housing and what sort of housing and what sort of leisure and all the rest of it. It seems to be a diversionary tactic. It's about trying to divert attention away from the real issue, which is the fact that whether we like it or not, apparently, we're going to be deprived of the main historical asset of the town, which is the maritime industrial use of the creek.
Do you think this will open a debate, more of a debate? So can you just tell me a little bit about that?
I wish I could see it doing that. The problem is that there has been virtually no publicity for this. It's very reminiscent of the sort of tiny print you get at the back of papers about planning applications. And I'm very nervous that the great majority of the residents aren't going to be aware that this is happening, that such an important part of the town is about to be effectively stolen from under their noses. I don't know what we can do about it, apart from getting attention from media like this to draw more people's attention to it. But I just wish I could see a way of opening up this as a debate and not leave it apparently as a fait accompli as presented by this planning consortium.
Who you are and what you're doing.
Okay, I'm Griselda Mussett. I've lived in Faversham since 1987, and I started the Friends of Faversham Creek along.
Start again. Sorry.
Okay, we've got a dormouse in shot.
We've got a dormouse in shot. Right. And go again.
Okay, I'm Griselda Mussett, and I've lived in Faversham since 1987. I started the Friends of Faversham Creek back around about that time because it seemed to me the creek was a very beautiful thing that didn't have anybody speaking up for it. And now I've helped to start the Faversham Creek Trust, which has a more commercial take on the business of getting the creek regenerated. And I'm here because there's a consultation about the future of the creek, the neighbourhood plan, the Creekside plan. And I've just walked up here to have a look at, see what's been proposed. And I must say I'm really shocked to see that there's nothing to say this consultation's going on. But there is a big sign saying there's a book fair on today. And I do think that this is it sort of illustrates the problem we've got in Faversham in trying to get people to know that it's their plan, it's their engagement. It's the future of this town, really, for the next 50, 100 years. And yet what they're promoting outside this very important democratic exercise is a book fair. Actually, I love books, but what are the priorities? I don't know. This isn't right.
I wonder, you're going to go in and look at this exhibition. Would you be kind enough when you come out to give us your impressions of what you've seen?
I'd be very happy to. I haven't actually seen the exhibition yet, and I'm very interested to see how they're doing it. My worries are, before I go in, that they're doing it as a top-down exercise. In other words, they've got an idea about what they're showing us, and we have to say whether we like it or not. I don't feel at the moment that anybody's come to me and said, what would you like to see? And my impression is that there are hundreds of people in the town who feel the same as I do.
Thank you very much indeed.
I've just been in to see the exhibition. I was only in there a couple of minutes to pick up some paperwork to read at my leisure at home. And I think you can also get these from the website, which is a good idea, because I'm not sure that I picked up all the pieces I needed to. My impression is that they've got quite a slick show with lots of artists' impressions and some photographs showing the derelict state of some of the land around the creek. And I think that's slightly misleading because the drawings look very attractive and beautiful and the photographs look a bit unkempt. Actually working creeks and watersides do have unkempt areas. I don't know that untidy is necessarily a bad thing, but I think they're missing two important points. One is that the skyline of a town like this is really important, to see masts over the roofs of buildings and indeed church spires and towers. There isn't anything done in the exhibition showing the amazing view of Davington Church across the basin. That's a view that's been there since 1140 something. And if you build around the basin, blocks of flats and so on, that view will go. So the view of the skyline is a really important thing that nobody's mentioned. And the other thing is that all this area we're talking about is a conservation area, and they should be doing nothing in the conservation area unless it preserves and enhances the conservation area. And in detail, that means they should have a character appraisal of the conservation area, what the buildings look like, what they're made of, what the roofs look like, what the spaces are, the boundaries, the flow of space and view through these buildings. And at the moment, there's nobody in that exhibition, nothing in that exhibition to speak up for the conservation area Faversham is actually where conservation areas were invented, and you know, it's the whole middle of the town. The whole town is a conservation area, and we should be really making a world feature of our conservation area, and anything we do by the creek, in the market, by the station, anywhere, should be making the conservation area better and not just taking advantage of it. That's my opinion.